of all, welcome in my studio. This is my new studio, which I have already waited for years. And it was used to be garage and is attached to the house. And my husband has his own garage now outside the house. So I feel very comfortable here. And I still have my Studio B, my old, my old studio in the basement. And, you know, like mostly it's like storage or gallery. Now it's a gallery and I'm making installation there. And I'm going to, you know, like maybe make a video out of this and show more. So, but maybe let's go from the few years back, you know, like there are some tapestry at the back, which I'm going to show on my PowerPoint. So I'm going to share the screen now, okay? Let's start with this one. And probably this is like maybe 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago when I started to do new experiments with, so I made tapestries made out of videotapes and plastic, and of course some yarn. And like this is like I used the experiment. I made an experiment first. That's one of my first experiments. Actually, yeah, probably you saw one in the archives gallery. That was the first one. This is the second. And I'm front of my work. You can see how big that is. So I have a frame, a square frame. So the warp goes on every directions. And then I can add some yarn to it and to make it, you know, stronger. And then I glue it, you know, with packing tape, or I use heat gun and I use like plastic cover, and then, you know, and it looks like a little bit like negative, or, you know, it's something new. So this is the tapestry. I'm in front of it, but, you know, this picture is more deeper, I would say, and more the way it is. And it's called like Dark Bridge and Dark Tower Bridge, actually. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite ones and it looks very three-dimensional. You can see the warp coming out of the screen, I would say. And yeah, so this is like the next one. Also, this is this one is the tapestry that was on the show in China and in won silver award. So I'm very proud of this. Out of 2,000 artists, they chose 1,000 and they chose 100. And then I've got this award. So I'm very happy. So this is the silver award, and this is on the website, the Chinese website. And it was like from Lausanne to Beijing. And before I won also an excellent award with another piece. But, you know, that's the story that was before. And we already saw that, you know, when you were interviewing me. This is also another piece. And it's traveling through space. And it was in Santa Monica a few years back. And, you know, another one. And this is like part of Cosmic Dance for Peace, but you see later, it's another installation I made out of this. This is also, you know, the one of the pieces, and then this piece went here. So like this. And it's called Belle Nuit. It's inspired by my daughter's song. She was singing this, and then I was inspired to do tapestry. And so this is like another one. Also, you know, I'm addicted to circles. So this is another piece and another circle. And also, like part of traveling in space. As you know, I'm inspired by cosmos also, and I'm doing art made of recyclable material to raise awareness about recycling and inspire other artists to make art of recycling. And I use the circle, sometimes hula hoop. I get from people different circles, which I use for my art. And yeah, I collect. Sometimes I see on the garbage day the circles. So I have lots of circles, but this is another probably show I should do just with circles. But okay, this is another one. Piece made of plastic bags, like milk bags, actually. And yeah, I've got from students from high school. They didn't use everything, so I've got some already, like kind of yarn made of plastic bags, like milk bags. They're all milk bags, and like I added some shiny thread. This is actually last year. I was participating in. Last month I was participating, and last week was the end of the show in Baltimore, on Quebec side, and with other artists, Fibre artists. So this one was on the show. So this is like milk bags, and between the rows of plastic, there is like shiny thread, like kind of fuzzy thread. And this is Book of Wisdom. The warp is made of, no, this is not, this is Book of Golden Thoughts. The Book of Wisdom is another one. But this one is Book of Golden Thoughts, and it was on the show in Poland and also in Canada on the international show in Oakville. And I am so proud of this. And I'm going to show you at the end the book, The Art of the Clothes by Michaela Sidore. I'm in this. She chose this particular piece for to include in this book, and I'm so proud of this. And this is like also like the sister or brother. Yeah, so it's another piece like triplets, and also the warp is made of videotapes, and there's lots of shiny thread and golden metallic thread and fuzzy. And another approach is work made with pop can tabs or openings or keys. People they call this different way. So this is meadow, one of the pieces. And this is like little one that was on the show in Romania, actually, 2 years ago. And this is another iceberg, also made, or you can see, it's big. And this is called the elephant glacier. It was inspired by the glacier in Greenland. So this is another thing about glaciers that are melting in a rapid way, and we cannot do anything about this. I cannot do anything about this, but just raise the awareness what is happening in the world with the pollution and how we interfere with environment. So this is like my newest approach. And also, this is a part of the glacier, but different plastic, white plastic from different plastic shopping bags. This is the finish piece. I like, it has different shapes. I can shape every time I want. And, I'm making now in my studio be the installation with my cave when almost all the plastic pieces, white pieces are there. So but this is another one, maybe I send you a little video so you can add later. So this is part of this white iceberg / glacier. What I have here, this was like, this is kind of older piece before glaciers, and also, made of plastic and videotapes, and it was on the show in Muskegon Museum in United States. And one of my newest too, Out of Darkness piece, which is behind me actually. And what was interesting, like I participated in Krakow. It was my solo show. Here you see the Book of Winds with Golden Thoughts, and the Cosmic Dance. And it was so interesting because this gallery is in the 16th century part of the building. And, that was the dust coming, some of the real dust from that century coming on my work. And that was so amazing for me, to participate, to be part of this amazing exhibit. Anyway, this is also my solo show in Poland in 2019. I'm showing this photo just to show how big my pieces are. But it was really, nice to exhibit in several times already in my country. And this little piece, this was part of Interface, the exhibit that was 15 artists from Canada were chosen, and tapestry weavers, and 15 from Great Britain. And it went through several places in Great Britain and in Canada, included some exhibit was in British Columbia. Yeah, so this is one of my circles too. So I added like transparent plastic foil, and some other plastic, and another circle here. So it was a little bit more complicated, but I like this piece I wanted to include today, but I'm going to do like the show just with my circles. And also, just for fun, this is, in a way, this is like the show in Argentina. My daughter is modeling for my piece because the title was The Masks. So, it's for the inspired by COVID, unfortunately. But anyway, fortunately, I was happy to be in this exhibit too. So this is for the okay. So this is for just for some. I wasn't sure what to choose because I have more pieces and more stories to tell. So I don't know if I did the right job. But this is the book I'm very proud of, and I will show you the page. I'm on the page 58. So this is my book of Golden Thought. Yeah. So I'm using like a plastic foil and videotapes, and I use, I have to say that sometimes I have to buy yarn, but mostly I buy from secondhand stores, or sometimes people give me, my friends who know I collect leftovers. So this is what I use. But this is interesting that I also use the old clothes for, it's like sometimes I would say it's like my material is emotional or sentimental. When I use something what I like, I reuse something what I already use, then it's sentimental, like for my girls, or for my husband, some clothes that I cannot donate it anymore because, they have to be gently used clothes, or something is ripped off, or, like t-shirts are wonderful to work with, because it's very soft and you almost like, like acrylic or wool, and so what else? I even collected my hair of my girls, my braids. I have tapestry that is full of the braids of my girls and my braids too. I collected old watches, and I have collection of my tapestry with watches, old and used and broken, and some even still work. And also, I make art out of CDs too. I'm going to show you. So this is like the made of CD. So the warp goes around, but it's like very cool effect. And some I framed, and some I don't. So what else? Like I have another piece. Yeah, like my hair, it's because if you experiment with your hair like I do, you cannot donate to the Cancer Society, to make wigs, but maybe my girls when they were younger, maybe they could donate, but we didn't go through this. Somehow we didn't find anybody who would want at that time, so and that's why. But if you, this is only for myself. I sent you a photo of work of the braids, summer with braids and flowers, my tapestry, which has braids of my girls and my braids. And but you cannot use it recently. I don't know why, but if you want to send tapestry or piece of art somewhere for the show, I don't know why, but recently I found I don't have anything to send. But if I had something, I would be refused. They don't want anything that comes with the not people's hair or animals' hair. I mean, like horse hair. They specifically say they don't want anything that has human hair. And then it was like the horse hair too, but like wool is made of animal, fur, right? So, but it's still allowed. So, but anyway, I'm not going to do that. This is like I'm not going to risk to lose my girl's hair or whatever. I don't know. This is just what I'm making. I already. I think I would invite people inside, maybe for Canada Culture Days, so people can come and go, because you can go inside the cave I made already. It's not finished, but it will be finished when I think it's enough. I need to make one more piece, and then add something what I already have, and then I make video. I don't know what I do with it, but I think I will try to go with this video around the world. And my daughter, she sings. She's using her voice, like 3 voices or 4 voices, all hers. This is her new kind of own music. Not it's just the voice. And she's going to make, especially for me, like the music for that, for my iceberg cave and glacier. She spent lots of time in Switzerland last 2 years, and she went through the mountains, and she is working on earth singing project, and she sings in different countries and in different places. And this is kind of to raise awareness of the climate change. So I think we will be cooperating all together at some point. First of all, I had COVID, and still, like the way I talk, I think I even hear myself, because sometimes I stop, and because it's still, I didn't recover completely after 2 months. And then it was the storm. I was home alone, and I was so scared, and I could see flying trees around from every window. And later on, the whole property around was covered with trees. And we were really lucky that we didn't get too many damages. Sometimes it was like 2 centimeters from the window, or from the door, or from the roof. And, the roof was a little bit damaged, but not like what people had, like the whole roof went down, or the half of the house, was broken. So, but after that, like I was so scared, that it can happen again. But then I started to do this ice cave, iceberg / glacier cave winter. So it's just, in the basement is kind of cold. And then when you make something like that, it makes you calmer, because everything is white. And I think this saved me somehow of going crazy, like building this this cave, We had together several exhibits, but now Kasia started, who is opera singer, she also started to paint. And when she was in isolation, like we invited her to our house because it was nothing for her to perform when the COVID started. So she spent lots of time like living in my studio here. And I went back to my studio B in the basement, and she started to paint. And like she always painted, but not to the, like she started to paint like crazy, like she made so many different paintings and being here. So that was wonderful. And now, we have a little Navan art gallery, and she's with me. And Krystyna also is at the gallery, and, some other friends, neighbors. So Krystyna, she still takes photos and, at the exhibit sometimes with me. And we were together in Santa Monica, and Kasia, Katarzyna, was singing at the opening. So that was amazing. So also my daughter, Veronica, who is a gynecologist, obstetrician gynecologist, she also paints, and she makes wonderful art out of different kind of, actually not only felting, but she's very good with felting too, needle felting. And she also has 2 kids, and every time, they have spare time, they paint together. So she deserves to have her own exhibit too. And my son, of course, he's a great artist, and he will retire from the army soon because he has kind of health problems. But also now he does amazing garden, which is amazing art. But I have some of his paintings and sculpture, and like when he retires from the army, he would probably do more art. And he's the biggest collector of my art, of course. Every time he comes here, he wants everything. So it's funny. Like some people don't understand, I'm not into selling, like I make art because it's like the same, like you were doing videos, not to make money, just it was like, it came from your soul. And this is how I make art, like I sometimes I'm surprised what what was in my mind, why I did that, and this is, people spend money on different things, right? Alcohol, traveling a lot, or, different things. And they go to restaurants very often. And I don't do that, I go to several times a year. I go for a trip sometimes, but mostly to visit my kids. And I went to Poland, of course, to visit my mom, and and then I could have an exhibit there too. And by the way, I would say, and then I went to China once, for the exhibit, and to States, like personally. But I don't travel that much, but I stay here and then I make art, and it's like I don't think about selling. And people don't understand that, because people think that when you're selling that a lot, it doesn't mean I didn't sell, like I sold several pieces, last several years. But this is not my priority to sell, because I have my kids and they all want my art. And then I'm building my little mausoleum. Just kidding. Yeah, this is like you sell and then you don't have for exhibits, like what I realized, some of my students, ex-students, they didn't even develop the skills well. And they were talking about selling, then can I make money out of this? And then when I said, I don't make money, but not because I don't try really hard. Maybe if I did, I would make a little bit more. But so they got discouraged even, for doing this. They said, oh, what's the point? I said, like if you go to university for years and then you master your skills and then you think it's your job because you were trained for, okay, fine, why not? Produce your art just for selling. Maybe that will be your bread and butter, fine. But this is not my philosophy, approach, statement, whatever. I make art for myself, basically, because I'm inspired with something and I need to do it. People are buying new toys, they are buying new computers, new phones, and maybe this will pass somehow and people will start to appreciate art. Plus, there are more people who do like the art on the side. They take art courses, which those people are hated by the professional artists who thinks, they produce art so people don't buy art, but I think that's wonderful that many people make art, many people take photos and they laminate photos so they can have, like posters or whatever, why not? I think this is beautiful when people try to do own art instead of buying art too, why not? If they can do it, why not? They still spend money producing art and like framing or laminating. For people I understand people who are professional artists and who hate people who there's so many amateurs who try to sell art on, during 3 days kind of exhibits, art and sale. I don't do that, because this is like, you have to produce art that is like $200 or $150, whatever, to sell it, right? But when you go to university, then you train, then you become a professor, and then you even have your students who can help you to make your art. There are different ways, and I think everywhere can be good. This is just what I'm doing. It's what I'm doing. Or somebody, people who have money, they buy somebody who is famous too, so that's also okay, but I think it's nice to exhibit, I love to exhibit and show people. I cannot lie about that, even on through the internet, like on Facebook, on different social media, Instagram. And of course, to when my work is physically there at the gallery somewhere, and people can criticize nicely or badly, it doesn't matter. But I think it's nice to show people what I'm doing, and I like people when they come also to my place and to my studio, and they can see what I'm doing. And some people like, some pretend to like, some don't like, and they say, well, it doesn't speak to me. Oh, why are you doing this? You're not going to sell that, that. I hide, in my circles, and then I say, I don't care anymore, my healing circles. This is what is important. That's what you should try to save yourself too, sometimes. Especially I have sometimes conflict with real tapestry artists who weave only with pure material like wool or linen or, like what else is natural silk. And they don't like what I'm doing. And I don't think I'm a tapestry weaver. Maybe I don't know. Mixed media fiber art / tapestry. Yeah, I don't know. But this is like, of course, I weave a lot. That's my main form of expression. It's like weaving with different material. Yeah, I have even here I don't know if I can show you. Sorry, maybe I can show you this part of my, do you see my mannequins? So, everything is woven. Can you see that?
Yes.
I made like several capes where I could see wearable art. So I had in Schenkman's on the show, some of them in the theater lobby downstairs. So that was interesting also, I think, for me and for people to have some costume likes art, but the woven. And yeah. But recently it's more popular. When I started, I think I always did that. Like I cannot say I started to be more serious probably 20 years ago about that, because I realized I can reuse anything, and I don't need to even buy anything if I use the like reused or like recyclable art made of recycling. Instead of throwing out, some stuff, I can reuse it. But of course, this is nothing like you go to the store and you buy something, something new, and you add between the rows, just to make it more shiny, or, like, so this is not like I only use recyclable material, But okay, I just wanted to say, like, since I started weaving, I was trying to weave with the material I already had, my girls' clothes, my kids, my son, my husband, mine. It was difficult to buy material anyway, like good wool, or when it was the stage of war in Poland. So I use my, the clothes. And then some friends would bring me some material they didn't use, and I made some tapestries out of this, but it wasn't appreciated, And even in Canada, when I came here, when everybody would say, oh no, you have to do something, more. It will be more precious if you use the natural material. And, when I started to do like 20 years ago, Ottawa refused to recycle plastic bags. And still, I think they are cheating. They don't recycle that, but maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But then I started to collect all the bags, and my friends collected for me instead of going to the garbage, to the landfill. I thought it would be great to use them, but not too many people like that. And the mostly artists, they criticize a lot, and now they are doing the same kind of art, maybe not only weaving, but they would use recyclable material for their expression, artistic expression. So this is now like it started to be very popular, which I'm very happy about that. See, this is my basket out of big lampshade. So I keep my yarn here. It was very difficult in the beginning, because usually, first of all, I found that people, like viewers, would be more interested in art that is more sellable. And so I felt kind of isolated, and maybe that's why I still produce art. And then I didn't want to be just a housewife having 4 children. And my husband, only he provided money, and I had, job, like occasional jobs sometimes, which it was enough for my art supplies, if I sold something too. Like for me, it was like most important not to be just a housewife. So, it wasn't my concern about what art is about in Canada at first, just to, like we came to Canada without any furniture. So my kids and I, we were producing art, and that was the most important. And then I started to go to the galleries and see what is art in Canada. And at first, we were living in Pickering, that is close to Toronto, but there were like some exhibits at the library, but it wasn't, and I like the same, like I couldn't get the whole spectrum of Canadian art, just learning by buying art magazines. And I saw that there was so many commercials in the magazines too, and art was like sometimes not important, just the commercial part was important. And then when we moved to Ottawa, it was a little bit better, and I met some artists, and like I asked where I could do exhibit, and so I started to exhibit with my kids. So it was the most, but the first show, it was without my children. I saw the advertisement that in Cumberland City Hall at that time, that was in Orleans, that they are going to have a contest about art and artists who are living in the area. So I took one of my pieces, and I won an honorable mention the next day. It was so nice, to be part of this exhibit. And then I met somebody from the gallery, and I talk about my kids. They produce art and make art, I would say. So they were so enthusiastic about having mother with children on the show. So that's how I gained a little bit more confidence. And we had some interviews, radio and TV, Polish interviews. So that was interesting and fun. And then in continuing education, I applied for the course, and I've got the course for, to be a, like the teacher. And that's also made me more confident. And, that's how I started. And I met more artists, and I went to the galleries for the opening, because everywhere was kind of convenient, not like here I live in Navan, when you don't have a second car, sometimes it's really far. Even if I had a car, coming back at night from the exhibit, there's the forest on the left side, there's the forest on the right side. I mean, I should so opposite. So, I kind of hibernate here. And only my, internet is my window of hope. But, if you want to be like professional artist, and I have to say I am professional artist at the same time, because I exhibit around the world, So you have to get to the, like try to get to the contest. So once you get into contest, then, people recognize you, and this is important to go for the shows and meet people. And, that's what happened to me. Like at first I was so afraid to send my work, photo of my work to try to get into exhibit. And then, I formed art groups, Harmony group and then Woven Bridges group. So it was easier to apply for the group show because the more artists would get the chance to exhibit, right? So also it was more interesting for me, not just, to show myself, but to be with other artists. So I organized international group, Woven Bridges, and I had like Mexican artists, Polish artists, and from Germany, and sometimes I organize just the Polish and Canadian artists, like art of fabric or something like that. So different kind of media of textile art. I don't know how to say. So I also organized the show for Canada Days, Culture Days, in my studio 3 times. It was in my old studio twice and in new studio once. And then last year I organized the show online, which was very popular. And I invited artists from around the world, from France and Australia and Poland, of course, and United States. So it was an amazing show, like the artists were very famous artists and they appreciated that, I was like so happy that they didn't refuse. They wanted to be in the show. And they said it was a wonderful idea. You should do anything just to promote art, even if your own studio or garage, whatever. That's what people should do, and support other artists too. I just still want to show the beauty of the, like raise awareness of what is happening in the world and our impact of the different disasters. But at the same time, I want to show just the beauty, not the ugliness of that, So I don't know, maybe in the future I would, but I think if I send a message that if something that like disaster, I don't send the hope. That's what I think. Some artists, they don't mind, and I, like to show just the ugliness of the world. I know the one artist who would show, like on his paintings, like only ugly things, ugly scenes. And who wants that, Like, I think this is like, it's sense negative, statement. And I don't know how to explain, but this is not me. I would like to do something nice and beautiful out of garbage, I would say. Or out of something could be garbage, right? Because I'm not doing, I don't take from the garbage, exactly from the dirty garbage. I can take, like the circle or lampshade when people leave on the garbage day, but not like I wouldn't go to the garbage dump and take the garbage home, that's not I'm doing that. But some artists do that, and good for them. they can do that. They can dig in the garbage dump and bring something home and do something, interesting. I like to experiment. That's what I can put this way. Some people, they do only simple weaving, and they can make beautiful tapestry with the picture, on it, like picturesque tapestries, or even amazing abstract. And they use just simple weaving. And I like to do different kind of techniques to use, and I like to experiment. That's why I also call myself experimental weaver. And all what I do, with experimental material and also with the different techniques. And yeah, you can see on some of my works that there's, but if you are a weaver, then you can see that there are different techniques. Oh yeah, I have favorite techniques like pick and pick. So for example, one row is one color, one color, and then the second row is the second color. And it makes like the, not the horizontal, the vertical lines. Interesting technique. I love that. And another one is sumac. And I like also like how you call this, like pile weaving or rag weaving, like pre-cut weft. You add, like between the rows, you add the thread already pre-cut. And twill weaving, it's recently, I like it, especially when I do the circle. It's, I show you. Do you want to see it? So this is twill weaving. So it looks like a fan, right? And that's what I like to do. And sometimes I use this technique in the square or rectangular weaving too. So for runner, I have even in the washroom, I have the rack, which I made out of t-shirts. Yeah, so.
What about outdoors? Can you make outdoors art?
Like some plastic pieces could be outdoor. And I had in Monrain, I remember on installations, I had the tapestry that was hanging between the two trees. It was like red spider dance. And it wasn't very damaged, but I could do that just if I had the venue. I don't mind, many plastic pieces. Oh, actually, you know what? I sent you a photo I made during the winter. I took at the winter time with my tapestry, white tapestry. So it's funny because, the nature needs something that is not natural, some woven pieces, white pieces. So I sent you the photo of this too. So maybe you can include that as an outside installation. Yes, I have my own spiritual thoughts. I'm not very religious, but it's for me, it's, don't know how to explain, but sometimes I feel like I'm guided by like higher force or higher spirit when I'm weaving or when I create art. That helps me, to do that. And sometimes especially, when I do something and I don't even remember why I did it, and how it started. So this is my spiritual, being. And especially, the circle, there is something about circle that I go inside, I feel safe, and then I have opening, and then I come out, And all my little circles, I call them healing circles, And, I gave to some people, especially when I was in Poland, I was, with my mom, and my mom's memory is, my mom is losing her memory, but still remembers me. And, so she was so terrified every time I left the house. So I was trying to spend lots of time with her. And in the meantime, I would weave whatever I found, like CDs or little, lampshades or little hoops. So I made many pieces there, and I gave people, as a gift. So everybody says, it's something when I feel so depressed or sad, I look at your piece and then I feel much better. I get that a lot. It depends what kind of, like before I, like I had tapestry made out of wool or different material, but not the plastic, for example. So that was, you have to take good care, like when you vacuum, like you have to use the very slow vacuum and then put something like a piece of something like silk or net or even pantyhose. So it won't damage the surface, or just with the little cloth. And I don't know. It's like, that's why I think it's easier to take care of plastic, not of the wool. And the wool absorbs, what was heartbreaking when somebody told me, oh, like your piece was eaten by the moth. I had to throw it out. So it's like heartbreaking. You should give it back to me and I would, treat it and maybe fix it. But some people are so afraid, okay, the moth came there, so we have to, that this is not my fault. This is like, they should take care of that, right? Be careful, So now I am not afraid with the plastic. If somebody owns my piece of made of plastic, or sometimes I make I paint also, and I sometimes embroider. That's another thing of expression, but my expression like this, I love embroidery, and sometimes I embroider on the canvas and then I paint over. So I found that people like that would be something to sell, but there's no way I can force myself to do more if I, just for sale. Just take it easy in this difficult time and, try for artists, try to make something beautiful out of this, unfortunate time we are now living in. And try to be more tolerant for the artists, and when you see their art, for the viewers who are not the artists, or you don't, because some viewers, they are artists they have, in their soul. So, yeah, just keep creating in every way, and try to appreciate art and beauty of the nature first of all, and try to save, some, try to reuse the material, some plastic bags you can, like from the bread or something else, try to reuse it, not just throw it out right away. Make a lunch bag for that, for the kids. Or, use the margarine box or another box, just reuse it. You don't have to be an artist to do that, right? Or just give, whatever you don't need, like the old clothes, just don't throw to the garbage, just give to the charity.